Greetings, guys, girls, non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video. Today, I wanted to take a dive into a familiar place, which is going through the r/nice guys Reddit, because there is never a shortage of men to talk about. And I just really wanted to have a good rant about some crappy men today. I just need to get it out of my system, and I thought that this was a good way that we could do that together. But before we get into it, I would like to say a massive thank you to today's patron of the day, Matthew. I appreciate you and your support so much. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope that you enjoy this video. And if anyone else would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/savvycat. It starts at as little as £1 a month, and I appreciate it greatly. So let's have a dive and see what things men have been saying and doing recently that have earned their way into the Hall of Fame known as r/nice guys. First up, we have a text conversation where he says, "Hey, will there be general parking or will we have to pay to park?" And she replies, "Hey, so there's just the parking garage. You do have to pay, but I'm unsure of how much it costs." "Oh, no problem, love. I can pay for mine and yours if you like." "Oh, thanks, but I got it covered. Don't worry." "Why not let me pay? I'm feeling super generous," winky emoji. "Especially if it's for a woman as gorgeous as you." "I appreciate the offer, but I'd just rather pay for myself." "No need to be stuck up about it. I'm paying for Amy's ticket too. Just let me do this for you. I want to show you a good time." "I'm okay. Thank you though." "See, women like you are the problem. I'm a nice guy. Amy told me you were nice, but clearly she can't see what a stuck-up bitch you are. Here I was, gonna pay for parking and even offer to buy you a meal once we've finished the tour. What an ungrateful bitch. You aren't even pretty. A 2 out of 10 at best." "Wow, way to go off the deep end there, buddy. Gonna go ahead and reschedule this outing with Amy. We'll be sending her screenshots too. Have a good one." "No, wait, please. We got off on the wrong foot. I didn't mean to offend you. I just want a chance to let me make it up for you over dinner." These people are so funny. I love that in the first one, he says, "I can pay for mine and yours if you like." And she's like, "I actually don't want you to do that. But thanks for offering and saying only if I want you to." And then just being so mad about it. I don't understand. What is the big deal? Why do you feel the need to pay for a parking unless it's to like hold something over her head? I'm also obsessed with how men do this, of like him being like, "especially for a woman as gorgeous as you." And literally like 3 messages later, he's like, "You're not even pretty. You're actually a 2 out of 10. So fuck you." It's like, you can't use that as an insult after you've already called her gorgeous. Like, why do you think that's gonna work? Why do you think that's anything other than a lie? And you think she's gonna read that as anything other than a lie? You were trying to go out with her. You complimented her. You called her gorgeous. And then you turn around, you're like, "You're actually a bitch anyway, and you're ugly." What? Because she didn't want you to pay for her parking? Okay, sure thing. And then going, "I didn't mean to offend you." You said she was like a 2 out of 10 and called her a bitch. And then you're like, "Wait, no, I didn't mean to offend you." Yes, you did. Yes, you did. You fully meant to offend her. I will never ever understand this, because like, what do you think's gonna happen? Did you think that like, being nice didn't work? So if you insult her, then she's gonna apologize and be like, "Wait, no, I'm so sorry for making you angry. I'm so sorry. Yes, I am a bitch. I'm sorry that I made you say that to me." And then you're like, "Yeah, that's what I thought. I put you in your place and now we can go on a date." Like, bro. Like, saying that over such a small thing as well, like, you think that's gonna make them want to go on a date with you. But what's gonna happen when you like disagree over something that actually matters? Like, if this is your response to her saying no to something that's like really minor and insignificant, what happens if you get into a proper argument? Like, you do understand the implications of this conversation, right? And why it's incredibly off-putting and no one will want to go out with you. Even aside from how terrible what you said was, the fact that it's over something so minor is quite terrifying. Here is just a Reddit post someone made. "She's in love with a dude that only has one arm. I thought this girl and I had a connection, but apparently not. She's instead in love with one of her friends that only has one arm. How am I supposed to take this? I'm literally doing worse than some dude with one fucking arm. This has brought me to a breaking point and I don't think I can continue moving forwards, thinking of ending it all." Have you considered that maybe she doesn't love you because you're an ableist asshole. Like, maybe she loves this guy because he is kind and has a good personality and loves her and respects her. Maybe that's why. I don't think the number of arms he has impacts that connection. It seems like you're just a bit of an asshole. And she doesn't want to date an asshole. If you were like completely basing this person's choice in partners based off of like able-bodiedness, you're the problem. You're the problem. Like, yes, you're doing worse than a guy with one arm because he's a decent person who happens to have one arm, whereas you're not, and you happen to have two. Solved the problem for you, bro. I think you need to work on that. Stop being ableist and maybe people will like you more. Here is a Tinder bio. All American. When I try to pet my cat, she goes, please no, and I back off because I believe in mutual consent. I don't care about looks or sex. I just want to find someone who doesn't fall asleep or text during movies. Looking for someone cool to drive around the city at night listening to loud music with. This is a message he had with someone. The first thing he said was, love what you did with the tits. So she says, what do you mean? It means they look great and really tie the room together. Okay. Oh my god, cut the shit. Are you actually offended? Or do you just feel like you should be because of the fucked up, repressed empowerment culture we sound day to day? You show them off clearly in your photos. You're not being sly, so just be you with me. I can't stand fake people. What you're on Tinder for. Wow, so that was a lot of red flags. I'll cut the shit and get ready for you. I don't give a fuck that you noticed my tits. I think they're nice and I don't mind showing them off. I was more cringing at your opening line because it was kind of pointless, apparently like matching with you was. Especially when your bio says that you don't care about looks and the first two things you say to me are in regards to my appearance. Then you turn around and pop off with an attitude about empowerment and shit and all I said was okay. Then call me sly, or the lacking of, and insinuate I'm fake because of that? Wild as fuck. As for what I'm looking for on Tinder, thank you for making it so incredibly clear it's not you. Have the day you deserve. Putting that line about consent in his bio, just like, it feels like a trap, which is so sad because like you want to look for those traits in a man, right? That's actually really sad. You want to look for a man who respects consent. That's a really sad, low boundary. You shouldn't have to specify that you respect consent. The fact that men think being like, if I tell her I respect consent, then she's gonna like me. That's so sad. The bar is in hell. So men like mentioning that they're feminists or they're like more leftist politics or whatever is always like something that you want in someone, right? Like that's kind of something that I look for. However, when it's in like a Tinder bio or whatever, I'm always just like a little bit sus. Because there are so many men who say that just to be able to manipulate women to get in their good graces and then go and like show that that's not actually at all what they believe. So it's such a weird, tricky line because you want to go out with someone who does have those beliefs, but you also don't want someone who like talks about it too much before they even know you because that could be a red flag, but it also could be the greenest flag because maybe they're passionate about it and they want to talk about it. And there's so many upsetting things that go into consideration before you like match with someone and talk with someone. Like you want to talk to someone about feminism, but what if they're just bullshitting in order to take advantage of you, which happens way too often. I've been in situations with men like that myself. I've been harassed or assaulted by men who claim that they're feminists and we like hit it off and then we went out and it turns out that they actually don't really respect women that much. So I guess the point of that whole speech there is you can't win. You can't win. The bar is in hell and you can't win. But showing that you're lying in literally the first message, that's pretty impressive. Like you didn't even give yourself time to like continue the lie past the bio. You just went straight into being like, no, I do actually objectify women. Well, I'm glad she ruled you out quickly. Good luck, bro. Good luck. Now, there is another Tinder bio that caught my attention that I want to share with you all. No ugly chicks, fat chicks, baby mamas, or bitches 35 and older. If you got too many piercings or got any sort of snake or dragon tattoos, use pronouns, identifying the least bit with LGBT, you can get right the fuck out of here with that nasty fucking shit. Up is up, down is down, left, left, right, right, boy is boy, and girl is girl. If you want to disagree with someone who gives a fuck. All that aside, I'm a really nice guy. Aside from being queerphobic, fatphobic, misogynistic, and an asshole, I'm a really nice guy. Okay? Just aside from being terrible, I'm really nice, actually. You didn't list a single quality about yourself. You just listed a bunch of things you didn't like about women or people in general. You just listed that you're a bigot and are like, but I'm nice though. Point to where you were nice. Give me one good example of anything that is nice. It says about me. You didn't say a single thing about yourself. And you think people are gonna match with you? If there are people who match with people like this, I'm so concerned because like maybe there are women who read that and they're also like fatphobic and queerphobic and all of that, and they like match and they're like, yeah, fuck queer people, being trans is so silly, it doesn't even make sense, it's ridiculous, and they say all of that, but then what else is there? Like if this is what you bond over, I'm really worried about what that relationship would look like. If the thing you bond over is a distaste and hatred for other people, that can't be a very good relationship. What do you actually have in common? What do you do? What does your life look like other than making your entire personality about judging other people? The amount of men on Tinder who just have the most horrible bios and they use terrible... Oh, did my hair tie snap? Rip. I got like new tiny elastic hair ties and I thought that they would hold my ponytails, but apparently not. So I don't know if my hair looks good. I can't tell in the viewfinder, but it'll have to do. The amount of like men that you see on dating apps who just have the least appealing profiles and then they go on and complain about how women don't match with them. I'm like, it's because your profiles are shit. As someone who has all genders turned on dating profiles, right? And I haven't used them for several months now, but going through them is so interesting because the difference between like most men versus most non-men's profiles is like pretty drastic. It's pretty drastic. And as much as I talk about how much I hate men, I don't particularly have like a gender preference. You know, my sexuality is kind of like, I vibe with personalities above all else. But that often means I do have a preference against men because a lot of the time the personalities and attitudes and beliefs of men don't align with my own. And that was very prevalent going through dating apps. And most men I got to, I was like, no, no, no. Whereas most non-men I got to, I was like, hell yeah, yeah. You know, because one, men don't write much about themselves, or if they do, it's like in a weird tone, or they're like too arrogant, or they don't care enough. And it's just so fascinating because I'm like, is this because they don't read women's like descriptions? They don't read any of the information women put there. They just swipe right on everyone, so they don't care enough to do their own because they assume that women don't read them. Is that why they do it? Are they writing bios like this because they're like, well, I don't care about people's personality, I just match based on their photos, so they just write whatever the fuck they want in their bios thinking that women do the same? Like, is that what this is? Is it a test being like, did you read my bio? Like, I have so many questions about it and I just find it interesting. I find it so interesting, the difference in how men and non-men make their dating profiles. It's just real fascinating. There's actually another Tinder profile that came up that I wanted to share with you. I can do way more for you than you can ever do for me. Humble yourself entirely. Strong start. Pretty much hopeless at this point. The internet has brainwashed you. I'm single because I didn't fall apart in my 20s, and now I'm stuck to pick from leftovers. America has failed its men. We deserve better than these obese whores and delusional single mothers. So now the entire world sees that the female brain falls apart if not being led by a man. You'll have no awareness or self-control. Children. What? This goes back to like, do these men write bios thinking that no one's gonna read them? Is that what they do? Are they writing this because they think no one's gonna read it? Because like, who's swiping right on this? Who's reading that and swiping right? This entire bio is just, I hate women. I am a straight man looking for a woman to date, but I hate all of you because you're all the worst and you have no brains. You need a man to lead you. You're ugly. Your life has fallen apart. You don't know what to do with yourself. Why did you think this was a good thing to write? I really just want to see the inside of their heads when they're writing this. Because the point is to date women, right? That's why you're here. You can't even get like the approval of other men being like, yeah, I agree with you, because there are no men looking at it. You're not trying to impress men. You're trying to impress women. And the way you're going to impress women is talking about how much you hate women. And then you're going to what? Complain that like no one wants to date you. And you're like, these women are too picky. No, these women would rather be single than date someone who despises and hates their existence. Like you do. Fucking ridiculous. I am obsessed with I can do way more for you than you can do for me. Humble yourself. Like, you want to talk about who needs to humble themselves here, bro? You think that you can do more than any woman? You just think you're better than every single woman. Then what are you doing? What are you doing then? Don't date a woman. If you hate women and you think you're better than all women and no women deserve your time of day, go date a man. Or no one. What are you doing here? I forgot to mention this man is 32. Being 32 and single and saying that you didn't have time to date in your 20s, and now you're left to pick from leftovers. Like, why are you not leftovers then? Why are you better than them for being single in your 30s because you had a successful 20s? But women who are still single in their 30s are leftovers because they like can't choose a good man and they're not worth your time. Like, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense. The hypocrisy, I just cannot get over the arrogance of some men. It's wild. Oh my God. Here we have a Twitter DM. So this person tweeted, that V dude from BTS is cute, which, valid, so true. And this one person replied to that in her DMs and said, really? Another girl who likes BTS? I'm very disappointed, Eri. I'm using a throwaway account to message you, but I've been following you for 2 years and have my notifications on for your posts. I thought you were different, as you were the only Asian I've seen on Twitter who does not talk about K-pop. Well, until yesterday. What's with females' new obsession with feminine Asian cucks? What happened to those who like masculine men? Take a look at Jason Momoa, Channing Tatum, Brad Pitt. Those are attractive men, not some Asian guys who look like girls and wear more makeup than the average female. It's upsetting because it gives us masculine men no chance, particularly guys like me who like Asians. A multitude of things. I could sit here and talk about this one message until the freaking cows come home. But let's pick it apart. 1, we've got to go in for the end here. Complaining that this Asian woman likes Asian men, which is unfair on him because he likes Asian women. So she's not allowed a preference for Asian men, but you are allowed a preference for Asian women, which from a white person, which I am assuming that you are based on everything, is just fetishizing Asian women, which don't do that. Where I feel like Asian women are very much allowed to have a preference for Asian men because, you know, they have cultural similarity. Potentially they share a language and other things. You know, sometimes having someone within your own culture and understanding can be a preference. And that makes sense. Too many white men fetishize Asian women, and too many white women fetishize Asian men. But this whole message just being like, if only Taehyung from BTS didn't exist, then I would have a chance with this woman, is fucking hilarious. Like, if she didn't talk about how Tae is cute, then she would be interested in this man. That's fucking so funny. Anyway, a few things about this message. Let's go through it point by point. 1, I love the acknowledgement. Like, I absolutely love the acknowledgement that men are buff for other men. Like, this has been a conversation for a long time, but like all the bodies that are advertised as like big, bulky, muscly, like Chris Hemsworth, like Jason Momoa, on the people you listed here, those men are catered to the male gaze. That is what men think that women find attractive. And I like that that's admitted by this man being like, those are real attractive men, saying to a woman who is actually attracted to men, talking about Tay, whom she finds attractive. And in that also saying, why do all these girls love these feminine men who wear makeup? That's not attractive. Muscly guys is attractive. Bro, I thought you weren't attracted to men. I thought you were attracted to women. So why are you telling women who are attracted to men what is actually attractive if you aren't yourself attracted to men, so you can't even testify to what women find attractive? Like, bro? The next thing, I love that this is being like exclusionary. You're like, because you find him pretty, it means you can't find these other people pretty. Because you find Tay attractive, that means you can't find Jason Momoa attractive. Like, you can be attracted to two different body types and two different types of people. Like, those are not exclusive. People can have preferences that aren't like exclusive. You can have like a preference for feminine men, but also wouldn't rule out dating more masculine men. And regardless, maybe that's not even a preference. Maybe she just thinks Tay is very cute, as she should, as I think literally everyone on the planet would agree. I don't think it's physically possible to look at that man and not acknowledge that he is beautiful. I just don't think that's possible. I don't care what your type is. I don't care who you're attracted to. You cannot deny that this man is beautiful. And then moving on from that point into saying that women are only interested in these men in K-pop and that they're all feminine and they all wear a ton of makeup and none of them are masculine. Again, you don't even know what you're fucking talking about, because there are quite a few more masculine men in K-pop. There's a lot of buff K-pop idols. Yeah, they exist. They are thriving. And people can have a preference for multiple body types, as I said. Let me tell you, my two alt biases in K-pop, so like the two people that I like love and adore above everyone else, Hyunjin from Stray Kids and Minhyuk from B2B. And this, I think, demonstrates that so perfectly. There is not an exclusive body type that exists in K-pop. You got it wrong there again. Maybe consider that people are interested in people for their personalities as well. And I know this original tweet was specifically just talking about how pretty Tay is, and that's chill too, because he fucking is. He's also a sweetheart, unlike you. So, whether she likes BTS or not, whether she thinks that Tay is pretty or not, you don't stand a chance in hell with her. So, buzz off. Thinking you're entitled to someone's time because you followed them on Twitter for 2 years is fucking hilarious. I love being like, I followed you for 2 years and now you tell me that you think that Tay from BTS is pretty. Like, what were you gonna do if she didn't? Were you gonna make a move? Probably not. I would doubt it. Why is this important at all? Here is another text conversation. It starts with her. Hey, I'm sorry I didn't message you earlier today, but I wanted to say I enjoyed our date yesterday. How did you feel about it? Oh yeah, I was wondering why you didn't message sooner, but I agree, it was very enjoyable. Would you like to see each other between Christmas and New Year's? I can take you to the restaurant you were talking about. I can't, I'm going to be at my parents' between Christmas and New Year's. Maybe something in January? I am going to be a little busy though. So you don't want to see each other anymore? No, that's not what I said at all. Well, it kind of seems that way. You expect me to believe that you aren't going out to party on New Year's? Not this year. Then why can't you see me in January? I literally said I can, I just said I'll be a little busy. Okay, you should make some time for yourself instead of work. If you spend time with me, you could relax. That's not really time to myself then, is it? So you don't want to see me. If you're going to be so confrontational about it, I don't want to, really. I literally paid for your dinner and this is the thanks I get. You should be thankful I spent time getting to know you. Now you want to ditch me? What the fuck? I don't really know what to say to that. You could start by apologizing for wasting my time. Have fun whoring around on New Year's Eve. I guess I dodged a bullet here. So you aren't going to reply to me? You're a waste of time, you know that? You better pay back for the dinner because this is ridiculous. I took you out to a nice dinner that you said you enjoyed and now you won't even go on a second date with me? Fucking slut. You literally have no life and you say you are too busy to see me. You could have just told me straight up that you were busy all the time before I went on a date with you. Do you usually waste people's time and money? Whoring around for free food and attention? I can't believe I actually was considering settling down with a woman so old and so ugly. Girls over 21 are a waste of time. I don't need to settle for an ugly duckling like you. Then stop texting me. Get a fucking life, dude. My like is better than yours, slut. Life. I'm sorry, I should have been more understanding about your schedule. Sorry. Oh my god. I love that she was straight up just like, I had a good time. I'd love to do this again sometime. And then he just went straight on the defense. Like, he had her. He literally, like, had another date there. She was willing to go out with him. Not just willing, she wanted to go out with him again. And then he came out being all insecure and was like, oh, so you don't want to see me? Oh, so you don't want to see, oh, so you hate me? Okay, so you're going out partying on New Year's. Bro, she said she wasn't going out partying on New Year's and she was going to be with her family. I don't know why that's so hard to believe. Like, if you're so insecure, then you should not be dating. This woman just tells you she's like a little bit busy in January and suddenly like she's a slut and she's abusing her power and taking advantage of men to get free dinners. Like, what? How did you make that jump? How did you leap here? You need to calm down and take a few breaths. And then turning around and being like, sorry if I didn't take your schedule into consideration. What? A little bit too late. A little bit too late. Again, the same question as before. Do you expect her, like, after you yell and abuse her, do you expect her response to be like, no, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to upset you. Like, it's my bad. I'll make plans. I'll rearrange my life for you. I'm sorry. I didn't consider your feelings. Like, bro, you went on one date. Even still, that doesn't, like, justify this response. But it's that thing of, like, this is what abusers do. I love these men who are so obviously, like, abusers, but they're not good enough at being manipulators to become abusers, which is good. I'm glad they haven't figured out how to be like master manipulators. But like, this is the kind of behavior that comes out from a partner once you are already trapped in a relationship with them, that like keeps you there and does have you going back and apologizing and doing whatever they say. And I'm glad that there are a lot of men who don't know how to hold that back for long enough and they do just do it immediately, because it means that so many women are able to escape the horrors that would be dating these men, because a lot of them keep that concealed until they've got you right where they want them and then it comes out and then you can't leave. So at least you got it out there straight away, because fucking hell, you do not want to be in a relationship with these men, ever. You want to keep as well away from them as you possibly can. And I'm glad that she never spoke to him ever again, I presume. I'll do one last one. These are two people who are doing like a group project together for school or for uni. And this guy has messaged her separately outside of the group chat. And she says, oh, hey, did you have a question about the assignment? Because we have a group chat, you know. Actually, beautiful, I was wondering if you wanted to go out. Thanks for the offer, but I'm not interested, sorry. Haven't even gotten to know me, crying emoji. I'll treat you right, the like big eye emoji. We'd make a good couple, hot eye emoji, ×2. I'm really not interested, I have a boyfriend. Whatever, whores aren't my type anyway. Girls like you only go for guys who treat you like shit and leave us good guys behind, angry face. Boyfriend equals whore. Got it. I love when they can't even pretend to be nice for 5 seconds or commit for 5 seconds. He straight up called her beautiful and says they'd make a good couple. And then the second she rejects him, literally like one message later, he's like, well, you're not even my type and also you're a whore. Like, what? You can't seriously go from beautiful, we'd make a good couple to not my type and slut shaming her in the space of 1 second. That's the deflection and protection of ego like that is so baffling. It's so beyond me. Like, what do you get out of that? What do you get out of that? Because I promise it doesn't actually hurt our feelings. It just makes us laugh at you because of how ridiculous it is. You already showed your hand. You already said you think she's beautiful. She already knows you think she's beautiful and you want to date her. Turning around and being like, well, I didn't even mean it, you're actually ugly, just makes you look like a child and makes her laugh because that's a lie. And she knows it's a lie. And I love slut shaming her for being in a committed relationship. Like, that doesn't even make sense. That doesn't even make sense. It's so funny. And now you're doing a group assignment with this girl, and the rest of the group is probably gonna be just giving you eyes the whole time. Like, maybe she can even get you kicked off of the project and you get a failing grade. I don't know the circumstances, but I hope that that was a possibility, because what the heck? What the heck? These people, these men need to learn how to take rejection. Like, if she says no, just be like, okay, I shot my shot, and then carry on. You don't have to try to attack her because she hurt your ego, all right? I'm gonna leave this video here. I hope that you did enjoy. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I upload twice a week and I would love to see you again. Over 60% of you are regular viewers but are not subscribed, so if you wanted to check and make sure, I would appreciate it greatly. A massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. I love and appreciate you so much. And a massive thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. Bobby, Josh, Mandy, Ikazel, Jessica, Eldo, Danielle, Raven, Elias, Chris, and Amelia. I love and appreciate you so, so much. Thank you so much for joining. If anyone else would like to become a Patreon, go to patreon.com/savvycat or go to the top link in the description. For only £1 a month, you get my videos a day early, as well as podcasts a week early. And then for £3 and up, you get things such as outtakes, bonus mini podcasts, live streams, vlogs, and more. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, The Queer Kiwi, and Twitter, That Queer Kiwi. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes.